I'm gonna cover a weekly video out of the lovely state of Florida. And while yes, I am saying Florida man because that is the most memed of the people in Florida, we're covering everybody. So hide your kids, hide your wife, cause we covering everybody out this bitch. Also, welcome to News But Make It Weird. My name is Deanna and I like weird news much as an inspiration. So if you're one of those people who are entertained by news like this, maybe hit the subscribe button because then, you know, we can have these little chats. Let's get into it. I really have no words for this. So a 24-year-old Florida man by the name of Kobe Watkins waltzed up to a BJ's meat market in Lake City, Florida on December 23rd, 2025, and homeboy wasn't wearing a thing. Nothing but a face mask and the parts and parcels he was born with, okay? He decided he was gonna hold up the place. I don't know anybody. I don't know how anyone takes you seriously with your floppy bits swinging all out in the open, but whatever. So apparently he had some kind of weapon, or made it seem like he had some kind of weapon. And why I say he just made it seem like he did was because whatever was in his hand was covered in a cloth. If y'all hear that groaning and growling, I'm babysitting my mom's dog for the week, so I apologize. Someone told me why covering it with the cloth was the way to go. It makes me think that he wasn't actually armed, you know what I'm saying? He just wanted the people at the store to believe that he was armed so they would take him seriously and give him all the money and safe. But who knows, you can get in the comments and tell me your piece. And I just know the employees were like, y'all don't pay me enough to give a shit about this. Like, y'all don't pay me enough to interfere. They probably were like, yo, take that ish and go. So anyway, he was caught on security camera breaking into a cash box on the premises before taking off. Police showed up, cornered off the perimeter of the store, searched for evidence. They found some clothing and other items that they believed were connected to the birthday suit bandit. And not long after, they found Watkins. And first they took him to the hospital to be evaluated because, I mean, who just robbed a store naked? I would have some questions about your mental health as well. And then he was booked into the Columbia County Jail on charges of armed robbery, exposure of sexual organs, grand theft, and criminal mischief. Incidents like this are unsettling, but our officers responded quickly, secured the scene, and worked with our partners to identify and arrest the suspect, said Chief of Police Gerald Butler. It sounds like Gerard Butler, which that is a fine man, okay? I mean, unsettling is one way of saying the situation is weird as fuck. All right, next up, back in September of this year, 61-year-old Craig John Vogt, V-O-G-T, y'all tell me, I don't know, was arrested after he admitted to killing and eating his own pet peacock. Vought was mad because one of his neighbors kept feeding the birds after they were already told to stop doing it. But he didn't leave it at that though. He wrote a letter telling the neighbor that he killed and ate the birds because the neighbor wouldn't quit feeding him, which is a weird thing to put your neighbor through. Like, I would personally feel bad if someone told me that they killed another creature because of something that I did, because of my actions. But that being said, probably you shouldn't be feeding other people's pets without permission. I mean, unless they're visibly starving and clearly not well taken care of. But even then, like, this is what we have animal services for. Charge people for not taking care of their pets and to make sure that those pets go somewhere where they will be cared for. The letter went even farther than that because it's giving the gory details. He told the neighbor about how he cut the birds' necks and bled them out and then cooked them up in a frying pan. So of course, the neighbor is appalled and calls the police. And so they come and they question Vought, and he openly admitted to placing the letter in the neighbor's mailbox and to killing the birds out of spite. During his questioning, he even disclosed that he intended to do the same to the rest of the birds in his peacock flock to keep anyone else from taking custody of the birds. Vought was booked into the Land O'Lakes Detention Center on charges of aggravated animal cruelty, a third-degree felony, citing that he intentionally inflicted unnecessary pain and suffering resulting in the cruel death of animals. I'm not sure if there was some online speculation or what the deal was, but the article also mentioned that Vought was not gang affiliated. They recovered no firearms from his residence, and he is not a registered sex offender and was not under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at the time of the incident. I mean, honestly, with the drug thing, you could have fooled me because are we looking at homie? This is homie. You don't have questions? I have questions. And I'm not sure who looks at those big ass, beautiful, colorful freaking birds and just thinks, that thing looks pretty good. That looks tasty. But I'm not even gonna lie, the foodie in me is a little bit curious. Am I wrong? I'm probably wrong. Let's move on. With this next story, I'm trying to figure out how some people make it into adulthood, let alone manage to procreate. Yet here we are. So October 12, 2025, a Volusia County man was arrested to have heroes tied to pictures of a toddler and an infant posing with a beer bottle, cannabis, and a handgun. There were maybe 6 disturbing images of children holding these dangerous objects. I say maybe because the articles weren't entirely clear. 2 of the pictures show an infant between 9 and 12 months old holding what appears to be a pound of cannabis. A third picture shows the same child with a man crouched down next to them opening said bag of cannabis. That man in the picture, Taylor Knoop, the Florida man in question. 2 photos show a little girl around 1 or 2 years old sleeping on the couch with a beer bottle propped up next to her. A 6th photo shows the same girl with a Glock style handgun propped up against her. Some of you are probably wondering, Florida is not one of those states where recreational marijuana is legal. As a matter of fact, they do have medicinal marijuana, but it's one of those situations where you have to have a medicinal marijuana card for that state. It's not like, you can bring a card from another state or whatever. Getting caught with less than 20 grams could get you a misdemeanor, a year in prison, $1,000 fine. More than 20 grams could get you 5 years and or a $5,000 fine. Medical cannabis is legal if you have a state issued medical marijuana card. However, you still cannot possess more than 4 ounces, and a pound is clearly more than 4 ounces. Now, if this was a legit pound, there might be some additional charges in there. It doesn't, like distribution, for instance, and it doesn't appear that he was charged for anything around the drugs, but I'm not even gonna hold you. This whole situation makes me think that this guy might not pass a drug test, and I ain't even talking about the cannabis. I'm talking about other drugs. So anyway, a concerned citizen who came across the pictures brought them to the attention of her daycare's DCF contact. I'm guessing that's Department of Children and Family, and then filed an online report. For some reason, that online report was denied. So then the DCF contact instructed her to contact law enforcement, which she did. And child welfare and Volusia County police showed up at the home of Taylor Knoop following allegations of his involvement with the pictures. When they showed up, the house appeared to be under renovation. The room where the children slept, there was exposed wiring, exposed beams, unfinished plywood walls, and part of the ceiling was missing. 4 children were in the home when authorities arrived, and they all appeared to be in good health, so that's good. But still, an incredibly dangerous environment for those children on multiple levels. They have an incompetent father and a multiple safety hazard home. When the police questioned Knoop about the pictures, he admitted to being aware of the images, but denied that he took the pictures. He did, however, admit to staging one of the pictures as a joke. He confirmed that the pound of cannabis was real, but it wasn't his. And the person who made them aware initially tried to talk to Knoop about the photos. He was like, okay, you act like I care. It wasn't my kid, which is just not a reasonable response, because you shouldn't be, what's the word I'm looking for? You shouldn't be introducing anybody's kids to this kind of stuff. I don't understand, but that might just be, I'm one of those protective mom types. Anyway, one of the children's wasn't Knoop's, but one of them definitely was. He claimed that the picture of the child with the gun pressed up against them was taken when he was no longer in the room. He claims one of the other photos had been taken 3 years ago. Not that that should matter. And in the end, he ended up being charged with 2 counts of felony child neglect without great bodily harm. He was taken into Volusia County custody, and he was released on a $10,000 bond. So he'll be seen back in court, or he was seen back in court on November 20th, which I couldn't get any further information about what went on during those proceedings. The children are thankfully in the custody of other family members, hopefully much more responsible than this knucklehead. And let's just hope Mr. Knoop either gets himself together and can be a better parent in the long run, or if he ever gets those kids back, and once he's done serving time, if they give him any time to serve, or let's just hope that the kids remain in the custody of responsible responsible adults. But be so effing for real right now. You don't need a parenting class to tell you that children shouldn't be in the vicinity of a freaking gun, drugs, like alcohol. Come on, where is your brain? What were you thinking? And anybody else who's involved with that situation, like, what the fuck were you thinking? But anyway, that's it. That's all I have for you. That is the end of this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below about any of the stories. Go ahead and give me a 1, 2, or 3 for whichever story you are talking about, because I am interested in hearing what you have to say, because this issue is wild. If there's any other weird news stories you'd like me to cover, please let me know. I'm here for it. And in the meantime, I just hope you have a wonderful day. Many blessings to you. See you later.